The weather is finally turning and it's nice to be outside once again. Anyways, today I want to talk about this piece right here, which is the Esbit solid fuel backpacking stove. Stoves in general seem to be less and less common, especially in the ultralight community. A lot of people are going stoveless or cold soaking, but I'm a big fan of the stove. I carried the MSR Pocket Rocket on the PCT, and that's usually what I carry, but there are a couple of instances where I will turn to this stove right here, which is super cheap, easy to use, no moving parts. I will turn to this occasionally, and today I want to talk about some of the instances where I would prefer something like this Esbit over my MSR Pocket Rocket. So first, since everyone loves talking about weight, I will cut to a weight comparison between this and a more traditional stove right now. Okay, so the MSR Pocket Rocket by itself, on my scale, comes in right about 2.6 ounces, and the Esbit by itself comes in at just over 3 ounces. So stove on stove, the MSR is going to have the edge. However, the fuel for the Esbit right here, you're looking at 2 ounces for a 4-pack of the fuel tablets. This starts at 7.4 ounces. This particular can is about halfway empty, so it's about 5.5. But with the stove and a half-empty can, you're looking at just over 8 ounces. And with the Esbit and 4 fuel tablets, you're looking at just over 5. The other thing to consider, once these tablets are used up, this plastic is going to weigh nothing, but in your gas can, even when it's totally empty, you're still going to be carrying around 3-point-something ounces in the can. Beautiful, thank you. All right, and then the next differences are going to be kind of what they're good at. So as you can see, there's, like I said, no moving parts. If you're unfamiliar, this just pops open, you set your stove right on top of here, and you light up these fuel pellets and you let it burn, and you're good to go. That said, with that style of cooking, you're not going to have any control over the flame. You can use an extra one if you want a hotter burn, but there's not going to be any simmering or turning up or turning down. Once it's lit, it's lit. As far as cooking control goes, this is not a great piece for that. But if you are just looking to heat up water, boil some water for coffee or ramen or something like that, and you don't need that control, those are instances where I would turn to this. All right. So weight aside, yes, this is slightly lighter. The difference is essentially negligible in my eyes, but this does have the advantage as far as weight. And then I also like the compactness of it. So I'll put it straight in my pot just like that, and then sometimes I'll put an extra one of these little fuel boxes inside with it. So this right here, that's 8 fuel pieces that I can burn, which is more than enough. I would never take this for anything more than like a weekend or maybe a week. All right, but you can see even with those both in there, there's plenty of space for a lighter, a sponge, a couple tea bags or coffee packets or whatever else you want to put in there. So there's the form factor, and there's also the weight. And again, if you're not doing any serious cooking, that's really all you need. So I remember timing this, how long it takes to boil water when I first got it, but I haven't done that in a long time and I don't remember what it was. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to put 2 cups of water here in my Toke's 600 milliliter pot, and I'm going to use 2 of these solid fuel tabs at the same time, light those up, and let's see how long that 2 cups of water takes to boil. Obviously, it's going to be slower than something like the Pocket Rocket, but if you're not in a rush, which if you're cooking dinner, odds are you're not in a rush, so what's the big deal? But if you're not in a rush, let's see how long it will take you. All right, so here's the stove. As you can see, Esbit brand. It's kind of the OG, and inside of this, I keep 1 4-pack. I've already used 2 of these, but 1 4-pack of these fuel cubes. So I'm going to take these out and put both of them right inside this tray and light it up, and we'll see how long this 16 ounces of water takes to boil. There we go. That's good enough. Set this right on top. And now we wait. I will say this about this kind of stove. It's not great. It's actually pretty bad in very windy conditions. So it's a little bit breezy out here today, and adding 2 tabs definitely helps mitigate some of that. But if it were really windy, this would be a tough one. You might have to use 3. you might have to build a windscreen, something like that. But just by itself in high winds, this is not going to be a great system. You're going to be better off with something like a Pocket Rocket. So we're right at the 6.5 minute mark. I did forget to put the lid on this until maybe 2 minutes in, but it's getting there. It's starting to bubble. It'll probably be rolling here in a minute or two, but this is definitely hot enough to start tea or coffee or whatever. So I'm gonna wait till it gets to a boil, but right around the 7 minute mark, that looks pretty good. Okay, we're at the 9 minute mark, just a little bit after. Let's see where we're at. There we go. It's boiling. It's not a rolling boil, but it is boiling. Like I said, that's definitely good enough to cook ramen, make coffee, make tea, whatever it may be. And the other thing is, this will burn. This will continue to burn. You kind of have to let it burn out. You can obviously take the cup off, but you're not wasting fuel by leaving it run. So it's been burning now about 12.5 minutes, and it's still, I mean, it's rolling now, for sure. But it's been at that point for a few minutes, and it's been cookable for at least 5. So these tabs are almost done, they're almost out, but that's an easy 6 or 7 minutes at least that you can cook on those two. So 1920, these just flickered out maybe 10 seconds ago. So about 19 minutes of burn time total, and from minute 7 to about 18, it was hot enough that you could cook your food there. You can see it's still, maybe you can see, but it is still steaming. So there you go. Am I saying this is the perfect stove? Absolutely not. That will never be the case. But if you're going on just a weekend trip or a shorter backpacking trip, and you're not planning on cooking anything fancy, or maybe you're not sure you want to cook at all, this might be worth throwing in your pack over something like a propane stove. It just takes up less space, it's a little bit lighter, does all the same stuff as long as you're a little bit patient. This one is $15 on Amazon, the one I showed today. But there are also even lighter ones, even smaller ones that are less than 1 ounce is their smallest version. And then there's also another emergency version that's a little bit bigger, but still smaller and lighter than the one that I looked at today. I know that seems to be the trend, a lot of cold soaking, a lot of stoveless. I just like a hot meal. I feel like I always will, unless I'm doing something real serious. I'm gonna be bringing some stove of some sort. So leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, if you've used solid fuel stoves before, if you prefer your propane, or if you prefer just cold soaking. Appreciate you guys watching, and as always, look forward to seeing you on the next one.